Welcome to Getting to the Truth in This Art. I'm your host, Rob Lee, and today's guest is the editor-in-chief of Arli's Appetite, Arli Lima. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me okay? Are we clear?
I can hear you okay. You're crystal clear.
Okay. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited.
You're welcome. I started to say something kind of goofy because your background is definitely in reviewing like restaurants and such, amongst other things. But that's one of the things that caught my interest. I was going to say, I'm coming through as clear as like still water. You get that regular like ice water.
I mean, that's so pretend. I don't know. When people come over to the table, it depends on the restaurant. They're like, do you want tap or still or sparkling? I'm like, I never order still. Now that you said that, I always get like a sparkling or tap. I don't know. I just never order still water. Maybe next time I'll order it, but it never pops into my mind to get still water. So
well, still is swill. Don't drink it.
Okay.
I'm the only person I know, and maybe you have a refined palate such as I. I'm a big fan of Topo Chico, right?
Okay.
And I get so much crap for liking like seltzer, little fizzy water. And they're like, how can you drink that? My friends will ask me, how can you actually drink that? I was like, with class.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, get a little lime, squeeze a little lime in there. I love it. I don't know. It's because it's water and it can be boring. But I don't have a refined palate. Let me backtrack on that. I don't want you guys to think that I'm only like eating at high class, bougie places, because I eat everywhere, to be honest. So, I mean, if you want to call it refined, I guess, but I eat everywhere. It doesn't really matter to me as long as the food is good.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. And I am bougie for context, but let's talk about it a little bit. Can you get into like your work, describe Arli's Appetite and your blog and some of the stuff that you're doing out here?
Sure. Well, I started Arli's Appetite back in 2014, I believe it was. I've been doing this for a long time. And it really started out of, me liking to eat. And my friends would always ask me for suggestions of where to go. And I really got tired of like trying to think back to where I ate and what did I have. So I just thought, I'm like, hey, why not like blog about it so that it could be an easy reference for people to go to. I started my blog. And then when Instagram came along, I really started putting more of that effort into Instagram. And I should blog more, and I do want to pick that back up in 2021. Just blog a little bit more because that's where it all started. But, Instagram can be like a mini blog to some people because you can put videos, photos, you have highlights, all type of things now, reels. So it could be like a mini blog. So that's kind of how I treat it. I created it so that my friends would be able to go someplace where they can reference, photos and different places that I've been. I also used to be a bartender in my former life. So, I've been in the restaurant industry for a minute. That's how Arli's Appetite started. And also, I have a degree in English journalism. So my love of communications and social media just went really well with my love of food. So I'm like, why not? Let's put these things together and create something. That's what I did.
So you're in this kind of foodie influencer writing space. And I think that's a very advantageous space to be in because like, I'll put it this way. I read that you and I have a similar palate when it comes to certain alcohols, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay. But I'm an individual. I'm a snob when it comes to beer. And I say this all facetiously, right? But if some people say I'm a snob, I just think I like what I like. But I think the notion of being able to capture your impressions of a place as you're having it in a true, legitimate, authentic sort of way is important. So I'll go to a liquor store, I'll go to like a nice bar or what have you. And I'm like, what's that beer I had? Mm-hmm. What is the name of that damn beer? And apps like this, one called like Untapped, you get to grade it, you get to look at it. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll find it. And I remember being crestfallen where it was this beer that I had. It was a barley wine called Serial Killer. It was delicious. Oh, nice. And after I discovered it, it went off the market. Oh. And I was like, are you kidding me?
That sucks.
So I think what you're doing in terms of covering like what you had, what you liked about the place, and really getting into it, having those images that are there, because I feel like you have a lot of people out here who will say that they're, food journalists, food writers, but they don't come off as foodies. They come off as people who are more leaning towards being an influencer. And I feel like they would be willing to provide their take on almost anything instead of food. And I think I saw fashion and a few other things on your blog, but it seems like they're just ready to review something. And I don't really get that impression from you.
Yeah. Well, my thing is I try not to, if I go somewhere and I don't like the food, I won't write about it. And that happens sometimes because now I get a lot of invites like, hey, come out and try this. And I never promise a write-up. I'm like, okay, I'll come out and try it. But if it's not good or I don't like it, I will not post about it, because I don't want to be negative. I'll tell the person or the chef or the place, I didn't like this about it. I'll tell them directly, but I never want to be like that negative person who, like bashes someone, because it could be something that they can improve on, So, yeah, I never try to do that. So I'll eat it and I'll taste it and I'll come out. But if I don't like it, I don't post about it.
I dig it. Like, that's one thing that I try to do, especially with this podcast. You're the first foodie we had on here, so that's whoop whoop, But I've had different restaurants on here, owners, cooks, and so on. And in it, just being in that spot, people who they take pride in what they're doing, they want to. Not necessarily a quid pro quo kind of thing, but, if they're talking about, I got some really good jerk chicken, or I got these really good cupcakes, you got to try them. They feel inclined that they want you to, they want your feedback. They want you to try it. Yeah. And I admire that. And I endorse it. But to your point, I think how things are supposed to be. So one of my favorite places to visit is New Orleans. And I usually go, this year it won't be happening. My birthday is next week. So kind of dating this episode, my birthday is next week. And usually I would be in New Orleans around this time to have some delicious shrimp and grits. And I've seen so many places that try to do it. I know. And I look at them with the side eye. I was like, you can't put turkey sausage in there. And,
and back to my point about, I'll sample it and I'll eat it. And if I don't like it, I won't post it. Some people are like, well, that's not how a foodie should be. That's not a real reviewer. And I'm just like, that's just me. They feel like, I should be honest and say I didn't like it. But at the same point, things that I like, you might not like. Yes, I go to a lot of restaurants and I taste a lot of food, but we have different palates, like you like authentic food from New Orleans, you go every single year. Okay. I've had bad shrimp and grits and I've had good shrimp and grits, but like, let's take my top three. My top one might not be your top one because you have more of a history with shrimp and grits.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I tell people like, it's really like, it's all relative. Like I can say something was good and you might not like it, but I've had a few of the same thing. So I just feel like, I have a little bit to say, but don't take everything I say for like gold. It's not like, it's just, I like food. I like to eat and I know how things should taste. So I just try to be fair that way.
That's true. Like, it's really funny because my girlfriend always gives me crap. She's like, yes, chef. Because I will just sit there and I'm like, I can tell that this isn't it. This isn't it. And she won't give me the rundown. She wants to see like where my taste buds are at. And I'll point out everything in it. And some things that are just so subtle. Like, how do you not put that in there? I know. Right. I just know how these things go.
Yep.
So how you touched on social media and you touched on the fact that your blog started in 2014 and we're in a much different landscape right now in terms of the number of restaurants here that are local, the trends that are happening in restaurants, and even this like focus towards more plant-based options. What would you say how your blog has grown maybe in related to those kind of areas, and what's been the response to your blog over this now 7 years?
Well, the response has been, good. I've had some people that have been following me from the beginning. Like, I'll go out with someone and someone is like, oh, how long have you been blogging? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then one of my friends is like, 2014. I remember. I'm like, okay, well, thanks. Thanks for remembering. But, yeah, it's been good. I feel like my growth is, right on point. I almost did like right now in social media, they're doing like how it started and how it's going. And I'm thinking I might do that, like post a few photos when I first started taking pictures. They were like not what they look like now. So I think my photography skills have stepped up. My social media skills, of course, have stepped up. My public relations, that's a part of my 9 to 5. And in the foodie realm, that's a big part of it. I think, I'm stepping my game up with that. So I think I've grown. I've come a long way from when I first started taking dark and grainy photos.
Well, that's great. I mean, the how it started versus how it's going wouldn't work for me because it's 2009. It's just a bunch of pictures of me wearing band T-shirts and eating donuts. I mean, I'm still wearing the band T-shirts. I'm eating cookies, but not donuts. Right. So it's like it's not much. It's not much deviation.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's all good.
So you touched on social media a few times, what have you? How important do you think the role of social media is for a business, specifically in food and drink?
Oh my God!
I understand that notion, like that. We eat with our eyes and all of that stuff. And you touched on having those grainy photos earlier. So speak on that a bit.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. We eat with our eyes. Nowadays, if anybody suggests a restaurant to you, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to Google it. You're going to look on Yelp. You want to see photos of how it looks. You want to see reviews. You're going to go to their Facebook, their Instagram. That is the world that we live in. And I really do not like when restaurants do not have social media or it's not up to date. I'm like, I get it. You might not have time to post every single thing that comes out of your kitchen, but at least get like a server or somebody to take a picture, because this is really going to help your business. Because if someone sees it and they like it, they need to be able to tag your restaurant. They need to be able to like share your content. It's really important for your growth to have some type of social media, and especially I would say Instagram, because again, Instagram is like photos, videos, and it's easier to use. I mean, Facebook is fine, but I think Facebook's getting kind of like not ancient, but Instagram is the place to be because it's so quick, it's fast. I think restaurants definitely need to be on Instagram if they want to grow and get more guests to come in.
Yeah, I mean, even with like two things that I've noticed with the like that period where you had the boom for like food trucks, like a lot of food trucks would post where they're going to be at, and Instagram by design is to be on your phone, and you can actually follow them, find where they're at, see where they're posted up at, and you still see it, but it's not in that boom period for food trucks, but that's still a thing. And in addition to that, because Instagram basically kind of rips off everybody's thing, right? They're doing a little bit of everything. So you do have that Yelp component where you can order food directly from their page. Yep. And that's even a plus. Yeah.
And even with, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good. It'll come back. Sometimes it derails. So this is a food question. And so food or drink. So let's put it that way. What's your preference? And give me an example of it. Do you prefer savory or sweet?
Such a hard question because I love candy. Like I love candy. I grew up on candy. I always say, I grew up in church. So, aunties and grandma and mama, everybody would give you candy to shut up just so you could buy it, So I just grew up eating a lot of candy. So I really like sweet stuff. I actually just had a brownie. So sweets are my jam. But I like a savory dish every now and again, a nice, warm, hearty, savory dish. But if I had to pick, I would say sweet.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the sweets. We had I'll ask you this question I actually had through the Instagram account. We had it was National like Cookie Day a few weeks back. And a few of the guests that I've had on previously, Kawana from Honey Rose Company and Aunt Kelly from Aunt Kelly's Cookies, they that's what they do. They do cookies. And so I'm going to ask you, what are your top 3 cookies? Since you're into the sweets, what are your top 3?
Definitely chocolate chip with walnuts.
Yo, we're on the same page.
Definitely. That's a classic. So I have to have that. I also like the double chocolate, which is weird because I like the double chocolate donuts as well. I don't know what they're called, but you know how you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you get like the chocolate donut and it's like chocolate on top.
Oh, yeah.
I like that double chocolate. What's another cookie? I kind of like those kitchen sink cookies too.
Okay.
That they just throw everything in there, like walnuts, cranberries, raisins, oatmeal. I like those too. But my top is chocolate chip with walnuts.
Yeah, you get it. That's a fire cookie.
Yes.
When you mentioned the kitchen sink, it's two of them I think of. It's one, I'm blanking on the name of the company, but they're DC, I believe, and they're called the type of cookie is called a pretzel cowboy, and it's like oats and chocolate. It's like a chocolate chip oatmeal cookie, but it has bits of pretzel in it.
Okay,
it's fire.
I'm writing that down. Pretzel cowboy, I gotta have that.
And it's another one that's in Wegmans, because like Wegmans, they had to switch up their thing, but they got really good cookies there, and they have this one that's I think like white chocolate, which if we all be real people, white chocolate is not chocolate.
Right.
But it's white chocolate and like dried cranberries. And I think it's oats in that as well. And it's called like that cranberry sensation. That's a fire cookie.
See, I'm not a white chocolate fan. I like dark chocolate, but I'm not.
Dark chocolate is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a white chocolate fan.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit to that dining experience. You mentioned in the that sometimes you would go out with people and go to these restaurants and they'll be your official bookkeeper of like, you started in 2014. So any celebrity, living or dead, who would you want to dine with?
Oh, that's such a good question. Okay, so the first person that comes to mind, this might be a little, I don't know. So Khalees. I'm going to say Khalees.
Okay.
Because she has this, I was into her music back in the day, like obsessed with her music. She came out with the Neptunes. It was different. Her first album was everything. I listened to the second album was everything. But then she kind of reinvented herself as like this food personality chef. So I'm interested. And not that I want to eat with her. I want her to cook for me. I want to know, I used to be obsessed with you back in the day, and I want to just have your food. I want to have that whole conversation with you of how you transitioned and, what made you come into this foodie realm. So I would love to have a meal with her, but I want her to cook for me because I want to know if she can really cook.
I dig it.
And another person that comes to mind, which is weird, it's another singer, is Patti LaBelle. Because, her pies, they just look so good. And every time I try to go to Walmart, they're sold out. And then when I see her on like these television specials and she's like cooking all this food, it looks really good. And I just want to try it. And I think she has like a really good personality. It would be a fun time.
I read because I read part of I haven't finished it, but part of Questlove's book, and I think he has a story where Patti LaBelle made him fried chicken, and he said it was transformative.
Oh my God, I can believe it because I'm like, Patti, I just feel like she would really put so much. She puts effort and love into her cooking, so. I just want to have, I know you said anybody I can have a meal with, but I'm naming people who I want to cook for me.
I dig it. I mean, they would likely sit down and have to, because you know how it goes. The sign of I think one of the signs of a really good chef, cook, anyone in that field, if they're not sitting there eating their own food, that's a red flag to me.
Yeah. And also, just to bring it local, she's not really a celebrity, but in like the DMV, Baltimore, DC, Virginia, have you heard of Spice Suite?
I've not, but indulge me.
It's called the Spice Suite. It's in DC. It's owned and operated by a young lady. I think she went on one of those shows and got some funding, but she creates her own spices and syrups and sauces. But on her Instagram, she also cooks with her products. And oh my God, everything looks so good. It's called Spice Suite, and her name is Angel. So I want her to cook
notes.
Too.
We're trading notes. I'm going to look Angel up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say those are some people that I would like to cook for me, or have dinner with and sit down and have dinner with.
I'm a big fan of that. What'd you say?
No, I was going to say, which is weird. I say all that since I don't cook. So it's really weird. People are always surprised when I say that because I like to eat, but I think that's really why I like to go out and eat so much. I won't say I don't cook at all. I cook things that I like and that are, okay for me to cook, but I'm not frying no chicken. I'm not, getting down with the get down. So, you know.
I think there's a thing where, you know, like I think in learning how to cook, like I'm more of a food nerd. I indulge certain things. It's like, let me try this.
Yeah.
And my approach usually, if I go to a restaurant and it's something that I'm fairly confident that I can make, I judge it based on that curve. Like, can I go back home and make this myself? And what would I improve?
And I do that sometimes. I'll go somewhere and I'm like, I'm going to make this at home. And I'll like Google it and look it up. Or even if I see something online that I want to make, I'll just go home and make it. But yeah, I don't get up and cook like 3 meals a day or even 2 meals a day. But I guess that's why I like to eat out so much.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I throw things together sometimes, and it's an opportunity to improv. That's the way I kind of approach it, and I know like the base of certain things and what flavor profile I'm looking for, and what spices I like, and from there, like what protein I'm going to deal with. Usually, it's chicken. I don't really do beef too crazy or too much pork or anything along those lines, and pretty much it's like 1, maybe 2 meals a day that I'm making, but I'm also having a protein shake in the middle. But I find a way to, in any of those things, create and do something that I think fits what I'm looking for. And I think that I can replicate. And that's kind of my approach. It's like, can I do this over and over again? And then it just gets into repetition. And kind of what you were touching on is like, do I like it? Because that's where I had to get to. I have to like it enough that I want to make this again and again. Because people will tell me, it's like, yo, you're fancy in what you eat, but then what you cook is super boring.
Right. Well, I mean, it's all about variety. So it's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I've recently gotten to Brazilian food. So that's I'm dipping the toe. They have these I think it's called coxinha. Mm-hmm. It's they're like these chicken croquettes. Mm-hmm. Fire.
Have you Bart Vasquez? I want to say Bart Vasquez. Is it Brazilian or Argentinian?
It's either Argentinian or Spanish, I think.
Okay. Oh, I'm lying then. Never mind.
but it's similar to the croquettes.
Yes, their food is really good. Mm-hmm.
So you touched on it actually before we started recording, but speak on some of the kind of the best things and some of the worst things when it comes to reviewing restaurants. And I know you have that kind of anecdotal thing where, you know, people kind of have a certain expectation of, oh, you're going to give us a good review, right? Mm-hmm. You know, but what are some of the best things and worst things about reviewing restaurants?
Well, I would say the best thing definitely is talking to the chefs, you know, because if you know, the restaurant invites me in, the chef normally comes out just to talk about the dish or, you know, just to see how I liked it. But I like to actually talk to them about their background, where they trained. And it's really exciting for me because they like light up. Like if you're like a true chef and you love what you do, you're just going to talk about it. Again, I work in communications. Mm-hmm. I'm all about that human interest story, that human interest connection. I want to know more about the person that's cooking my food, where they learned their techniques. So that's the best part for me, actually going into the restaurant and talking to the restaurant owners and the chefs. In addition to the food, that's a big part of it. You said the worst part?
Well, something that's challenging, because I think like just by comparison, you have best and worst, but sometimes it may not be a worst. It may be something that's more of a challenge or more of I wish that went differently. Would you have an example like that?
Yeah. A challenge could be being disappointed, you know, by the food. That's always difficult, you know, when they come back and be like, how was it? And you have to be like, well, actually, that's something that disappoints me sometimes. And also, being in this foodie, I hate the word influencer, but I'll say it, influencer realm. Sometimes restaurants will invite me out, and it's like an unspoken thing that if a restaurant invites you out, it's comped, right? Mm-hmm. But I always go into it like, whatever I get, I know I can pay for it, so it doesn't matter. So sometimes when restaurants invite me out, it doesn't happen that often, but a bill comes. So it's always like a little bit like, but you actually invited me And do you not know the rules? But it's all good. Like, I'm not saying that I'm not happy to support, because in addition to me going places for free, I will tell you in a minute, I will pay for my own meals all the time. I just got takeout last night. I go other places and I don't have a problem with paying, but I'm like, these are the rules. So
yeah. I've had that scenario one time, and I'm not going to be Goshen name the place, but I'll say this. They hit me up, and as I kind of look at it in hindsight, it was solicitation. Yeah. It's like, would love to reach out, and, what are you into? What kind of, these pastries do you like? Yeah. And I was like, oh, sure. We saw that you did this one, and we wanted to reach out and let you know we have these. And, it's kind of a place that really wasn't in, the area. I was just happy to support what they were doing.
Right.
But, it was kind of like a bop to get there, and it was kind of an inconvenient time and day. And then I go there, and I go there with my girlfriend, and the whole conversation that we had the day before about, hey, come out, I got these for you. I go there, it's like, oh, that'll be $20. I was like, huh.
Right.
And $20 means nothing.
Yeah. But
the conversation was a shift, and I was like, oh, you were just soliciting.
Right.
So in that, the thing that was really disappointing about it, because the money thing didn't matter, but it made the experience took away from it, and it made it not taste as good somehow.
Yeah. And, the times that we're in now, I don't want to be like trivial and like say, oh, no. My God, I want to get everything for free, because again, that's not it. Restaurants are suffering. It's COVID. I'm talking about pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Same situation. You invited me. And even if you want me to pay, that's fine. Let me know. Like, I don't want to feel bamboozled. I don't want to feel like, and especially if I invite someone else, and they're like, okay, and I'm looking like, so that's sometimes disappointing. But again, I always go into it thinking in the back of my mind, I may have to pay for this meal unless it's confirmed with our communication that, it's on us, that I'm fine. But other than that, but sometimes it's, I'll get there and the server's like, huh? And I'm like, oh, here's the DM. Do you want to take it over to the manager and show them? So,
and that's the funny thing, is that's only happened to me one time, and there have been like really cool people who invite me out to the full situation. Like I had Tahaka Brothers on, and they had me come, gave me the full tour of the plant, spoke to everybody that worked there, gave me like multiple pints of ice cream, and then had me try one that wasn't even in the market yet.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, yo, this is fire. And the episode that we did is dropping like real soon. And it was like a really good experience. And even with my man's at Forge, Chris, there's a, you ever have a turkey egg?
No.
So that's something that you rarely find, right? So me and him was just chatting one time online, and he was like, you want to come by and have a turkey egg? And I was like, that's all weird, conversation. And I was like, sure. So he invites me and my co-host on my other podcast to the kitchen, and he fried us up a turkey egg. We ate a turkey egg, which you rarely find. He said he's only seen 3 of them in 10 years in the kitchen with the chef in his dope restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's an experience that's going to stick with
my
me.
kind of experience. I like, having experiences like that not a lot of people have.
So as we wrap up, we got a few more questions here. So real quick, describe the best meal that you've had in the last 6 months. I can't say forever, because then that's just too much for you.
Yes.
The last 6 months. See, I'm trying to help out here.
So let me say this. I can, there's so many good meals and best meals that I've had. I cannot think of just one, but one that comes to mind, is the Charleston. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's one of the former Wolf restaurants. They have many restaurants in their portfolio. The Charleston and Harbor East is like my favorite former Wolf restaurant. Food is just everything, like just everything. The pastas are amazing. I always get like the flash fried oysters. They're good. The cocktail program is good. I'm just always blown away by the Charleston. I would definitely recommend, everyone go there if you're looking for like a sit down, nice, fancy meal when COVID is over, of course. Yeah. But yeah, check out the Charleston for sure.
funny story about the Charleston.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
I had my anniversary dinner there.
Oh, nice. Did you like it?
Okay, here's the thing. Me and my girl go in there. They gave us the whole COVID. The person at the front, she was not playing. I was like, all right, cool, because we get there and it is everything and more than I was expecting. Just random stuff just started coming out, and they were like, "Yo, this came from Chef," because I'm a planner, and I know a few people in the kitchen there, so they took care of us. And my girl goes to the restroom and she comes back and it was like already this kind of small like artichoke soup that was there, and it was like a little shot glass. She was like, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of the pre-appetizer."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Did you set any of this up?" And I was like, "No, it made me look more like a baller."
Yeah.
But it's funny going back to my thing about the shrimp and grits. That's what I had there, and as I put it, if I was not in polite company at the Charleston, I would have licked the bowl. It was that good.
Yeah.
I was like, look, Chef Wolf is going to come out and look at me and like, what are you doing?
I know. I just love everything there. And like you said, the experience as well. It's like it's the best experience. It's like the service is great. The meal is great. It's just everything to me. So I love it.
And it's the full thing too. Like, you touched on earlier a little bit, like, you got to empathize with some of these places. And, I think the thing that gets lost, though, people diminish the influencer, the writer, the podcaster as not being a creative or not being one of these people that are in these spots too. Yeah, this is oftentimes a labor of love, but I'm sure web development costs you something. I'm sure, commuting to these restaurants costs you something. And then the same for me doing these podcasts. And, it's be mindful of that, but also be considerate. So like when COVID hit, it was a lot of restaurants that, I was spending a lot of money at just for the sake of, I like what you do. I want to help keep you afloat.
Yep.
So I don't need to go to a restaurant every weekend, but I was spending $200-$300 a weekend, just getting food just to keep it afloat. Yep. So it's like, I understand you have these trying times conversations, but also acknowledge that the people that are out there looking for you, because this is a community.
Yep. Same with me. Yeah, I'm always supporting local restaurants. I love it. It does something to me, just to know that I support it and help them out. And also I have to eat, so it's sustenance as well.
Yeah, because I think I'm planning out in my head right now as you're describing. We're talking kind of about food a little bit. I'm thinking in the back of my head, what the hell am I having for dinner?
So it's Wednesday. I'm having burger and beer night. Chuck's Trading Post. I don't know if you've been there. In Hamden, they have like a $12 special burgers. You get a beer, you get fries. So I'll probably get that once we're done.
That's pretty crisp. I might go to Water for Chocolate. I might get some food.
Oh my God. That is like my second favorite restaurant.
I've never been, by the way.
Oh my God. The fact that you say you love New Orleans, the chef he trained there. So I feel like that would be perfect for you. Like, okay, that's so exciting. Like, oh my God. Yeah, you have to try. Yeah.
I can't wait to link, because I live not far from it. So it's just a matter of, I've just been procrastinating. So that's going to end soon.
That is, every time someone asks me where to go in Baltimore, I always tell them Water for Chocolate. And it's small in there. They actually just expanded the inside and added a few more tables. And they have outdoor seating too. So it's normally really packed, but it's worth it. Like, I will wait an hour. The food is always good, always consistent. Like I said, he's trained in New Orleans. His food is really just authentic. I love it.
There's a few places like, I don't know if you're into coffee or anything, but I'm a little bit of a coffee snob. And there are places like this morning, like I usually get up, I'll do like my normal walk, because the only way that I can not put on 1,000 pounds while eating good stuff is you got to be active. You got to be up and about. So I make it a habit to get up. Since COVID hit, I've gotten up every morning and walked about an hour and a half, sometimes with weighted stuff on, vests, the whole thing. Right. So there's one place over there in Canton that I really like, and it's a little stretch for me in terms of that walk, but I'll go from my place over to his cafe, Cafe Dear Leon, and it's a little more expensive than I normally would pay for pretty much what I'm getting, but everything is done very well. Like, I went there this morning, And you feel like you may have gotten robbed. I was like, where's the rest of my money? I was like, oh, right. And I bought like a macchiato and like 5 cookies because I give a couple to my friends or what have you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, did I spend $23 on this? I was like, what did I just do? Yeah. But it is such quality and it's such attention to detail. Mm-hmm. And, it's just like, that's what you look for with these places.
So,
it's like,
I think you're about what you're doing. Heart, because I'm the same way. Like, I will pay money for something that I really like. If it costs a little bit more than that I'm used to paying, or if someone's like, this is really good, I will pay for it. I'm paying for the quality. I'm paying for what I like. So I don't mind at all.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I got 2 more questions and then we'll be done. Okay. You'll be off the hot seat. You'll be out of the kitchen because it's too hot in there or whatever that whole saying is. So old fashions. Let's talk about this.
Oh my God. I love old fashions. Okay.
So you're a person that can speak on it.
Yeah.
So what makes a good old fashioned? Give me the rundown. What is it the environment where you're having it? Is it purely just the quality of the alcohol? Is it the type of glass? What makes the best old fashioned in your opinion?
Okay. So you have to have the right ice. So everywhere I go, every restaurant I go to, I order an old fashioned. Okay. I cannot tell you how many restaurants to make them and put like crushed ice or cubed ice.
Never.
The old fashioned has to have that solid ice cube so that the ice melts slow. And then you just get that smooth flavor. So if you bring me an old fashioned that does not have a block of ice or 1 cube in it, I'm like, I don't want it. I turn into like an evil monster. No, I really don't. I don't. But the ice definitely makes it. Next, I would definitely say the bourbon. I don't like whiskey old fashions. I don't like rye old fashions. I have to have bourbon, a nice smooth bourbon. I like Woodford Reserve. I like Basil Hayden. I like Bullet. Those are my top 3. The glass doesn't matter because you know what's funny? I go places and I order an old fashioned, and because I'm a woman, they'll bring it in like a coupe, and I'm like, where is my regular glass? Like, don't treat me like I want the regular old fashioned glass. Don't bring me no pretty girl coupe. So yeah, the glass doesn't matter. The environment doesn't matter because I make them at home all the time. It's definitely the ice. And it's definitely the bourbon that matters. And the best old fashioned I tell people all the time is at Topside and Hotel Revival. They have the best old fashions.
Okay, good to know because I've been there once for like a restaurant week or what have you, and I didn't have an old fashioned. They got good drinks there, but I didn't have an old fashioned, so that's one to grow on. I had the best version. I had 2 really good old fashions that when I think of that particular drink, those are the places that come to mind. It was Woodbury Kitchen. It was like I think my 30th birthday, maybe 31st birthday, and I had a like lamb ragu as my entree, and I was like, I'll have an old fashioned as well. And I said it really snobbishly, and it came out and it had the nice glass and a freaking block of ice, and I was like, yeah. Right and it was like smoky. And the other one was at it's the restaurant that's next to the Sagamore.
The Pantry? Yeah. Yep.
So those are the 2 best that I've had, but I'll definitely consider Topside in that next go around because I had one from the bottle joint though, so it's a little different experience. You're not in the proper ice. I had one that was pre-bottled from what is it? The Bluebird Cocktail Lounge?
Bluebird or Blue Pit? Because both of them have
Bluebird.
Okay.
The one that's the upstairs. Yeah.
They have good ones too. Blue Pit Barbecue, which is around the corner from Bluebird. They have it too. And the Capitol Grill has something called an in fashion, which is like an old fashioned, but they put like a twist on it. And that's really good too.
Okay. We're being alcoholics here. I like it. I'm here for it. My eyes are...
So no excuses for me. Like...
Fair enough. I mean, they're like, I had a few different drinks. One of the places I like to get my booze and libations from is Dutch Courage. They run a pod and they're good dudes, what have you. And I was going, I was like, you guys still have this? Oh no, we switched our menu. We can make it for you though. And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
and we can show you how to make it too. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I went in there like, I like old fashions. Now they have liquor that's not gin. They have other stuff, but they were like, let's make you a gin old fashioned. I was like, and they made it and it was good. Like I had it, but then my next one I ordered a regular old fashioned, of course, but I like them there. They're good guys and gals.
Yes. Alrighty. So here's the last question that I have for you. And this is a little bit of a loaded one, and it's a longer question too. Mm. So if you could tell someone to come visit Baltimore after COVID, so we're all in the clear, things are good, people are happy, people are doing cartwheels in the streets. Mm-hmm. Name 3 restaurants that they must check out. They're here for a long weekend. They have to go to 3 different places. What restaurants would you pick? And extra points if you can suggest a drink or food to have there.
Okay, so definitely Water for Chocolate. I tell people that all the time. You have to go there. I would get the shrimp and grits. They also have a lobster jambalaya, which is really good. But everything on the menu at Water for Chocolate is good. So, and then they have their own sangria that they make. They call it dope juice, I think it's called. Jungle juice or something. And that's
super black. I like it.
So go to Water for Chocolate. I also, Charleston, we said that. That's a little bit more upscale. If you're coming for like something fancy, go there. Also, I would say there's a spot called La Burrita. It's in Butcher's Hill.
That's in my neighborhood.
Now, the chef from La Burrita used to be the chef at La Calle. And Chef Val, he is phenomenal. He left La Calle. He's at La Burrita now. And I'm like, I want to go there all the time. His food is so good. So I would definitely say go there. And another one of my favorite places, just to let you guys know that I'm not fancy all the time, is Capitol Lounge on Pennsylvania Avenue. Katie's the chef. Everything they have coming out of there, the fried fish dinner with the mac and cheese, string beans. They have strawberry Hennessy to go. Just all the soul food. They have these baked potatoes that are named after like jazz singers, musicians. They're like loaded with like crab meat and shrimp and cheese and chicken. So yeah, Capitol Lounge would be another place I would tell people to go. Okay.
I like this. This is good. These are all suggestions I'm secretly writing down for my next food odyssey. So yeah. So here's the opportunity at the end of this show. And again, thank you for coming on. This has been a lot of fun, a total treat for me. Here's a chance to shamelessly plug your social. Where can they find you? Your website, all of that stuff. Okay. Plug away.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. This has been exciting and fun. I'm always excited to talk about food. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter at Arli's Appetite, ArliSappetite. My blog is also arlisappetite.com, and I promise I'll start blogging a little bit more in 2021. And that's me in a nutshell. And also, if there are any restaurant owners out there that need help with their social media, hit me up because I do that on the side as well. I would be happy to help you with that too.
Well, that's great. That is wonderful. So thanks again. I'm gonna do my sign off, and that'll be that. So for Arli Lima from Arli's Appetite, I'm Rob Lee, saying that there's all types of delicious, savory, alcoholic things in and around Baltimore. You just have to look for them.